UNDP has an interesting and important role in the promotion of human rights. But I want to clarify one fact, that UNDP does not have a mandate to protect human rights. But it gives UNDP more strength because UNDP is taking human rights as a holistic point of view, and as part of the interagency mandate, UNDP has specific responsibility to make sure that all of your projects contribute to the improvement of human rights on the ground. And therefore, you might have projects in the area of HIV/AIDS, capacity development, or climate change, energy efficiency, but all those projects and priorities should contribute to the implementation of human rights as the country undertake at the international level. So that is very important. Secondly, resident coordination system has a key role in the promotion and protection of human rights. And I'm using protection because resident coordination is also helping Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights on the ground. Thirdly, UNDP has very sectoral projects which is supporting specific target groups: women, Roma, persons with disabilities, different minorities groups. There UNDP play a catalytic support role. And fourthly, but not least important, is its support to national institutions as part of the national human rights protection system. And there UNDP play a role of developing national agencies' capacity and also including civil society voice and media voice in the mainstream discourse, so that it does not lead like a government-led human rights discourse, rather than a societal discourse inclusive of all opinion and different segments of the society. There are several human rights issues which are challenging in the region and which could really be daunting if you think about the overall development paradigm within the context of the region. Protection of minorities is a challenge, and I'm not talking about only protection of Roma. There are several other minorities. It could be linguistic, it could be nationalistic, it could be ethnic minorities. And the national institutions that are built in the regions are not necessarily well capacitated to handle the concern of each minorities. That's number one. Number two, if you look at the freedom of expression and media freedom in the region, that's a key area of concern from the human rights point of view. There are issues for the protection of journalists, there are issues for the protection of human rights defenders across the region. Those are the issues I would say are quite alarming and are impacting on overall human rights situation. And then take the issues of vulnerable groups, women, persons with disabilities. So therefore, you have number of state institutions who are ready and capacitated to help the government, but not necessarily ready to address the issues of social inclusion, which is critical in this region. The overall human rights situation poses a challenge though, because the region is not monolithic and there are several sub-regions within the regions. Take the example of Central Asia within Europe and CIS, and it has particular challenges of democratic space, democratic opening. That poses also challenge for human rights protection on the ground. Take the example of Balkans, where you have the issues of protection of minorities. Take the example of CIS as a whole, you have the issues of protection of the rights of the people with disabilities. And together, if you look at overall human rights situation, I wouldn't call it as very conducive to the human development and the development as we mean in UNDP. So there are several challenges, but at the same time there are unique particularities attached to each sub-regions.